I'm back. I don't know what happened. Facebook is being very, 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 very strange. So I'll just wait a second and see if you guys come back. That was some weirdness. I have no idea why that did that. I don't know why that did that. I just don't know. I just don't know. I gotta come back here. Okay. Yay, Serenity! I'm so glad you came back. I have no idea what happened. I might have just touched a button. I don't think I did, but it said for unknown reasons we are unable to blah blah blah. So maybe it's Facebook's issues. Yay, Alexandra. I know, I don't know. Well, okay, first off, almost all of my lives are 90 minutes. That's a really long time. That's a lot of content. That's, so sometimes I think I'm being, here it comes. Oh my God, my car wound from the last video. Sometimes I think I'm being punished, for giving too much or whatever, some bullshit. Like, I love how my brain's just like, whatever. Yay, we're back. Okay. So I titled this other part, trust issues. So sometimes I'll meet a new person and I'm not so sure about them. Does that mean I have trust issues? No, it doesn't. It means I'm operating a discernment in myself. Do I want to invest? Hi, Andrea. Do I want to invest myself? Do I want to trust that this is a good relationship for me? Like, I'm in a process of discernment. I'm not in a process of trust issues. And oftentimes it can be like a person, and like I said about walking into the room, and other people trust them. And so we'll stop trusting ourselves. Hi, Cameron. Thanks, you guys, for coming back. Hi, Carolyn. This idea of trust issues is a bullshit story so that we don't trust ourselves. It's an analytical platitude so that we don't trust ourselves. Oh, you just have trust issues. Or, oh, I just have trust issues, so I don't trust myself. Right? So I spend time questioning myself. Hi, Elena. I spend time questioning what doesn't feel right for me. Not trusting myself. That's what the whole bullshit of trust issues is. I have trust issues. No, you don't. Well, if it's a trust issue, it's an issue of not trusting that you don't trust that person, or not trusting that this situation is not good for you, or not trusting that this is just wrong. This is a no for you, right? And talking yourself out of your discernment, talking yourself out of your boundaries. And so, oh, you have trust issues. You got to fix that. You have trust. No, I don't. I'm very intelligent. I'm keeping my trust issues because my trust issues tell me where my boundaries are. My trust issues tell me exactly who and what is right for me in every moment. Oh, no. Trust issues are magic. It looks so cool. Of course it's from trusting myself. It's from trusting myself. And how do I build trust in myself? I guess this is a really good question. If you're lacking it, because some people aren't. Some people have gloriously grown up with their self-trust intact. Like, I can't tell you how happy that makes me. Like, there are people that don't struggle with this. And none of us have to anymore. None of us have to anymore. And I love that there's people that didn't have it unintact. That's beautiful. And I love them, and I love being around those kinds of people, and I love meeting them because I learn so much. I'm like, wow, like, it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be difficult. Most 5-year-olds will show you what self-trust really looks like. So as an adult, if you have self-trust issues, first off, there's a reason. Honor that. Honor that there's a reason. Honor that, you've been also fed the bullshit about trust issues. No, I don't trust things for a reason. And I'm going to trust myself. I don't owe anybody trust. I don't owe that to anyone except myself. Only myself. Because the truth is, trust can only exist from here. If I trust you, I'm simply extending my trust of myself towards you. That's it. And I can extend that trust of you back when something is off. I don't extend trust to you and then it's like forever. I extend trust in the space that we are in and knowing that I can pull that back anytime I want and close the door. Doesn't mean I have trust issues. It means, no, if I smell something fishy, it's probably because it's fishy. It's fishy. And whether it's fishy for anyone else, it's fishy for me. It's fishy for me. And that's all I need to know. I don't have to tell the whole world it's fishy. I could just leave the fishy smell a room and not go back and just trust myself. Could I be wrong about the person, the thing, the place, the situation? Sure. I don't care. I'm going to trust myself. I'm going to trust myself. And so many times I've caught myself talking myself out of it. Like somebody else's hell yes doesn't have to be my hell yes. It could be complete hell no. And I could just walk away and I don't have to tell myself about trust issues. If it's right, it resonates. If it's wrong, it doesn't resonate. And I don't mean right or wrong in the whole scheme of the universe. But if it's right for me, then I know. And if it's not right for me, I also know. And I don't have to talk myself out of it. And I don't have to trust somebody because somebody else trusts somebody. And I don't have to give my trust out like it's candy. I don't owe anybody my trust. I have the patterning in my background that gives me good reason not to trust people. And emotionally trusting somebody is the deepest honor that we can give to somebody else. Most people don't understand the sacredness of that. The profound, connecting magic that it is when someone extends their trust towards you. And how sacred and beautiful and honoring that is to both parties. Like most people don't even understand that. I aim to change that. I'm always going over who my mom really is under the mask. Yeah. That's because there's a part of you that loves her and will always love her no matter what. That's the heart of what you are. You will always love her no matter her behavior. And so there's some confusion there. I know where I am, what I'm really dealing with, what I need to process subconsciously that's affected me. I also have a cognitive dissonance because of who I thought she was, but is not foolproof because I know I doubted her when I was a kid. I just got tired of fighting it. Yep, that's where your reality split. Doubted her when I was a kid, got tired of fighting it, and had to like her through conditioning. I also have strong intuition. It feels crazy, but I know I need to face it. But I'm not. It's like I'm just ignoring it. That's okay. You're not ignoring it. You just told us about it. It's like that. I don't know if you're here for the last time, but it was like, it's there. It's sitting there in your peripheral. It's sitting right here, and you're like, okay, I see you. Yeah, I see you. I see you. I'm not ready to see you, but I see you over there, right? And so I see you over there, and I'm not ready to look at you, but I know you're there, and I'll get to you when I'm ready. I'll get there when I'm ready. You're not ignoring it. You're just kind of sitting up next to it. And that dissonance is, so there's this part of you that no matter what your parent, no matter how horrible, awful of a monster your parent is, will love them. And theirs can feel so strange, right? Because it's like awful things can have been done to you and there's still love for the person that did it. That's something you can't change. And you don't want to because it would close you off. But it's to understand that you can love the person and absolutely abhor, hate, stand up against, be clear the behavior of the person. So sometimes we're really confused. We think we have to hate somebody in order to get them out of our thing, or we have to get so angry or thrash around. No, you can love somebody and completely step out of their behavior. It's what I call my love is unconditional. My presence is definitely not. Hi, John. Definitely not. My presence is not, for many reasons. One, I have one body and I serve a whole lot of people. So I can't be in LA right now. So my presence is not there. But also in relationships where it's not healthy or it's downright abusive. My love is unconditional. I can love the person and completely walk away from the behavior, which means walking away from the person. My love doesn't change, but my presence is completely non-existent in that space. That is how clear, that's a clarity boundary for me, right? It's, I can love you, and the behavior is a big fat fucking no. Bye. Why love unconditionally? Like, why is my love unconditional? My love is unconditional because that's when my love is unconditional. It's when I love myself the most. I like who I am when my love is unconditional. And the idea that, like, that's the paradox, right? My love is unconditional. My presence is not. I don't have to love your behavior. I don't have to put up with your behavior. I don't have to agree with your behavior. And you will never see me taking responsibility for somebody else's behavior. That is a fuck no. I won't. Hi, Lillian. It's totally right on time. So that is trusting yourself, right? So a lot of the work I'm doing with private clients right now is that space. It's coming back to trusting yourself and not taking responsibility for anyone else's behavior. Ever. You can't. And if you're waiting around for them to take responsibility for their behavior, you're going to be stuck in the patterning. Like, you're stuck and you're not going to get out. I think I answered that, Amit. I'm not sure. If I didn't, can you ask it a different way? Trusting myself means I come into my own experience of my body and I stay there as best that I can. Shanti, what's right for you right now? Even if it's like, doesn't make any worldly sense at all. And everybody else in my life is going to go, what the hell? I don't care. I have to trust myself first, right? I have to trust me above. And here's the crazy thing. When you trust yourself, other people trust you. We'll extend our trust to somebody who's full of trust. That's how it works. Expecting somebody to trust you is also weird, right? Trust issues. Anybody here have trust issues and has like a personal question or example that we could maybe like use it to expand on the idea of trust issues? Oh man, this idea of trust issues just is such a crock of shit. It's like a conditioning tool to take you out of trusting yourself. Fascinates the shit out of me. No, I don't have to trust anyone. I'm not required to give my trust to anyone. And when I give my trust to you, it's a very beautiful thing. It's a precious thing. It's a sacred thing. This is all, it's integrating into me right now as I say this to you. It's something that I've known and felt and experienced, but saying it in language brings on another layer of integration. And it's just like, I'm feeling the beauty of that. Like what trust really is, right? Trust is me. When I trust me, it's the only way I can ever trust anyone else, right? I can't try to grasp for trusting somebody else and hope that that's going to help my trust issues. I can't force myself to trust somebody that I don't. That's weird. I'm realizing how much I do not trust myself and I'm not sure how to proceed. Okay. Yes, it's sacred. So that's why I said, how do you trust yourself? You pick up your pieces. There's a bunch of emotional triggers living in your body, in your cells, from your childhood. It can start as young as like 5 to about 16. Those are usually, our emotional triggers are set within that age range. And those triggers are places where you lost trust in yourself. in your experience. And when I talked earlier about Alexandra's reality splitting, on one side, she could see there was some bullshit going on in her mom's behavior as a child. And on the other side, it was so painful to live that split. I love my mom. I'm seeing the soul of who she is. I know she's loving. I know there's somebody there. And then on the other hand, there's this behavior that fucking confuses the shit out of me because I'm a kid and I split my reality. And that's uncomfortable. Hi, Yvonne. I love you. That's uncomfortable. And so I split the reality and I put them like this. And so my reality becomes not the reality I'm living. So my lived experience of like, there's some weird shit going on here is now mixed with this is normal. This is okay. This is how it is. It's okay. Everything's okay. And I get a trigger that gets stuck in time. It's like you're frozen in time emotionally, right? And you're frozen in time and not being able to trust your experience, like your own lived experience, because you've needed to take on the reality of the adults or the parents in the room. So it's about coming back to your own lived experience of reality. What is happening for me right now? And if you've had this a lot, then you disassociate when you have a trigger. Whoa, right? It's like you disappear from yourself for a second. And that doesn't feel like you're trusting yourself, right? So picking up your pieces is what brings back trusting yourself, because you go back and you get literally eye level with the child in you that was traumatized or had this thing happen, and you say, I got you, and I'm never going to leave you. I got you. And I can say this to my inner child all the time. Your life is going to be amazing. It's not going to be easy. You're going to go through some really shitty stuff. I'm honest with myself. You're going to go through some shit. And I promise to be there every single step of the way. And I said this in the last live too. I am the guardian angel that has always been there for myself. I just only now realize that. Right? So my future self was always there with my child. And I know this because I've picked up enough pieces to recognize that the reason I survived some of the things in my life was because I was there saying, you've got this. I believe in you. I love you. You're not alone. I just didn't know it yet. I've done this with my mother due to her alcoholism. I choose not to have her in my life. She lives 2 blocks from me, and I haven't seen her spoken in 14 years because I don't trust all her shit would make my life a mess again if I ever allowed her back in. Yes, Andrea. And with such clear, first I want to bow down and honor you for that clear boundary. It's so valid, and it takes a lot of strength to hold that kind of boundary. And also the grief of it. There's a grief to that boundary. I have similar ones, and there's a grief, kind of like a missing, a deep grief that also just isn't life shattering, but needs to be honored as well in such boundaries, right? Because otherwise, that's what helps us keep them in place, is to be able to grieve the relationship we wish we had with our parents that we'll never have. It's okay. And I will always, the little kid in me will always wish for that. And the truth is that longing for that relationship that I wanted from my parents is actually what helped me to create the family I now have and live with my husband, with my 4 children. That longing allowed me to have what I have today. It is so painful when you realize people have not been treating your trust with sacredness. Yes, it is. And the truth of that, Miriam, is that you're not yet treating it with sacredness. Because when you do, you know to withdraw it when it's time, and you don't beat yourself up for giving it. Example, last year I worked with some coaches, with some people. I got scammed for a lot of money. It was right. I trusted myself to enter that relationship. It was right. And immediately when I knew it was wrong, I pulled out. I trusted myself again. But my mind wanted to tell me that I was untrustworthy because, I should have known back then when I made the original decision. No, it was right when I made the original decision. And when I pulled out, it was the right decision to do. I can fully, always trust myself. All of that other crap that my mind wants to talk me out of it. Nah, I'm not playing with you, mind. No. I was never sure which emotions were mine or someone else's. Yes, and this is why this is why you struggle with that. So I didn't try to go back and discern. It's time to go back. Yeah. And just gently allow, like, really just call up if any memories are here that want to be felt through. I'm here and I'm an open door and see what comes. You don't have to push it or force. Like I said, there's some shit that sits there and I'm like, and I don't look at it until I'm ready. I think I'm just writing this stuff with my mom because that was false trust. And recently, yes, I'm getting strong intuition, which will be me trusting myself fully for the first time. Yep, and which can be really scary too. I want to give that honor. It can be like, oh, damn. It's like terrifying because we're not used to it. It's like a whole nother level of weird. Awesome, but weird. An adult think you just have to do it. You just know, as long as you trust yourself, that the best relationship you can have, and you cannot trust anyone else. So it's a very beautiful thing to do. Hard and challenging when you've been gaslit. It's so hard, but the soul can survive so much hardship and amazingness. Yes. Alexandra's talking to our resiliency. We've been sold up shit creek, guys. We have been told that we are fragile. We have been told that we are broken and that we need to be fixed because there's something wrong. Fuck that. We are so resilient. The things that we survive and go on surviving, not just surviving, but thriving, loving, laughing, enjoying life, being playful. Like the crap that we go through as humans and live through, we are so resilient, you guys. Like the message that we get that we're not is a bunch of crap. Like we're so resilient. Longing is, when I realized that my longing had been met, it took me to my knees. I was like, oh my God, I'm living with my husband and my kids, the family that I have been longing for since I was a child. I'm in it. It's here. This is it. Like, holy shit. Like, I feel that right now. Like, wow. The conversations I can have, the validation, the love, the trust. Longing is a cool thing. Got it. The longing is how I've been able to be a present parent and married for 20 plus years to someone I adore. Yes. This is how resilient we are. Like, this is, sorry. There's a big microphone. I hope I didn't just yell in your ears. Like we're so resilient, and we're so, even like we could have the shittiest childhood, and the longing that childhood creates allows us to create the life that we want, even with all the crap. Right? I was talking to a client earlier today, and I said I wouldn't take my childhood back. I wouldn't take any moment of my life back, because who I am today is pretty awesome. And without any of that, I wouldn't be who I am. I wouldn't know what I know. I wouldn't see what I see. I couldn't teach what I teach. I also told this, that we are the first generation to have the awareness that I'm talking about. The emotional awareness. Our parents didn't have it. Their parents didn't have it. I would say you'd probably have to go back at least 9 generations to find emotional clarity. If that. It's far back there. Like this dysfunction, this emotional dysfunction is old. It's old. And we're the first ones becoming deeply aware of it. And so we are the change. We are it. We can't expect our parents to change. And I will say that we have to go through phases, right? As we're claiming our emotional maturity, there's going to be rebellious phases. There's going to be fuck you phases. There's going to be like, I'm so fucking pissed and I hate everybody and I hate my parents and I hate this and I hate that and this is stupid and why is it like that? Like, that's a natural phase that we go through when we're growing ourselves emotionally. A lot of people get stuck there. They get stuck in the blaming, right? In the, it's everybody else's fault. Not a fun place to be stuck. It's a great place to be. You really need to go through that. It's like you're breaking up with your parents. You're growing into your full ability, right? So you have to rebel, especially those of us that didn't get to do that, because of many reasons. But you don't want to get stuck there. You don't want to get stuck in the let me be angry at my parents forever thing, right? Because then you get stuck and you can't move forward. Anybody who's been diagnosed, from other people or from yourself as having trust issues, there's reasons you have trust issues. And mostly it was because you were not trusted. You were taught out of trusting yourself. You were told how you felt. It was invalidated. How you felt was invalidated. For me, it was, you got to stop crying in 2 minutes. This is a bunch of dramatic bullshit. I don't think those were the actual words. I kind of embellished there, but it was something like this. But I remember constantly being told you have 2 minutes to cry, to get over your whatever I was having a fit about. I don't know. And so it's like the invalidation of my experience was so strong that I didn't trust myself. How could I? I didn't ever have the opportunity to trust myself. And so trust issues are just, if you've ever been told, especially by somebody else, well, you just have trust issues. That person that said that, you might want to get away from them really fast, really far. That's just, maybe. Because it's a tactic to talk you out of trusting yourself. And trusting yourself no matter what, even if it feels like it's this is weird, just trust yourself. If it doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. And it's okay to trust yourself. Even if everybody, let's say you're at I don't know. I don't go out much, so I'm trying to come up with I don't know. Let's say you've paid for a retreat. It's very cold here, yes. Make peace with the horrors of the world. Hey, Kyle. Can one? Yes, one can. I'm not sure if you want to know more than that. Is it possible? Yes, it is. Let me go into that one there for a second. So, can one make peace with the horrors of the world? Yes, one can. And you don't do it by sticking your head in the sand and pretending like it's not there. You don't do it by ignoring it. You don't do it by getting overwhelmed to the point that you can't do anything. You don't do it by being arrogant about it. You don't do it by not being touched by it. Making peace with the horrors of the world does not mean that you accept them. Does not mean that you don't do what you can to influence what's happening in the world, even if that's just healing yourself. That's a lot of work, man. So the answer is yes. One can. I don't believe, though, that it's a really easy answer. I don't think it's a really simple, there's no simple platitude or simple little quote that will satisfy that question. I'm deeply, more deeply than words can express, touched by the horrors of the world, if you will. And the peace that I am contains that, can hold that. But I'm highly aware of these things. And I think that not being highly aware of them is a cop-out. It's like eyes wide open. No wool before my eyes, no lies, no life is sweeter than it is, kind of stuff, but also not robbing me of my joy. That's important. Trust issues. We have half an hour. Anyone have questions or want to talk about it? I'm sure that I can find more to talk about, but I'd like to open the floor. How oftentimes, it's so fascinating. The times I tell myself, I'm not trustworthy. I've made some really shitty decisions and I can't trust myself. And what a bunch of crap that was. intuition, integrity, honesty, clarity, discernment, boundaries. Those words feel like, holy crap, like it's orgasmic for me. But they are not words that are sold up, they're not sexy. They're not words that are easy to sell. For me, at least, well, that might be a story I'm telling myself. But that's how I saw it. It was like the things that I was drawn to the things that interest me, the conversations that I want to be having, they have to have some aspect of one of those things in it, or I don't feel like I'm interested in the conversation. And I used to think there was something wrong with myself. Okay, how can I begin to trust myself now before all the pieces are picked up? Give me a second. Let me see if I can. How do I trust myself now? Listen to yourself. Trust that we won't fail in ourselves. Yeah. But trusting yourself is something, it is a choice. It's a choice. It's a skill. So find in your life today, right now, where you are already trusting yourself. How about everybody plays this game if y'all want? Like, for instance, I trust myself to get the food on the plate in my mouth most of the time. That's an example. I trust myself to wipe my ass. Like, I'm real good at that. I can totally trust that I got that one handled. Like, I'm serious. Find the places in your life today, right now, where you already trust yourself. 100%. I 100% trust myself to wipe my ass. I do a good job. It is clean. It's very clean. So find these spaces. I trust myself to do the grocery shopping. I trust myself to drive a car. I trust myself to call up the dude on the phone or whatever, right? I trust myself. So right now it's about finding proof for your mind that you already trust yourself on many, many, many levels. That's always the first step. The second one is don't allow second guessing. So you're going to do something and your mind's going to go, well, what are you doing? Are you sure about that? And you're like, yep, I'm sure. Like, you just start kind of like moving aside this idea that what you're doing isn't right. I let go and danced. That was trust for me. I think trust can be in the body also. Trust is the body. The body will tell you immediately whether you trust something. Like, when I do this in a situation, whether it's energetically, physically, just inside, when I do that, that means that my body's telling me very clearly, right? And if I allow myself to feel that, usually it's like, whoa, I get pulled back, right? And I trust that feeling. I don't even go, whoa, what's happening? I'm like, nope, I just take a step back. And then from the step back, I look around and be like, what's going on here? This is interesting. I don't like stay in it while I'm feeling pulled back and be like, oh, why am I not trusting this? I'm like, nope, I'm out. And then I look afterwards. I danced last night and I let go and trusted the universe was holding me and loved me. I trust my body and feel feet to let me dance. Beautiful. Yes. Yes. Yes, Alexandra, exactly. I trust myself to put on my clothes. I trust myself to take a step. I get it and appreciate the humor. Thank you. Notice how I feel in my body when trusting myself. Yes. And like really, truly find those places that are honest for you, like where you do trust yourself. And then you build upon that. Where else could I trust myself right now? Like if there's some place where you're struggling, like to make a decision, because believe me, I have that issue, it's how can I trust myself more right now? Where do I feel? And when I trust myself, it's solid inside me. I'm solid in my trust of myself. Like it's like this really clear, solid trust myself. Like I might not trust myself to do certain things like code on the computer because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But I trust myself to figure it out. That's what it's like. I trust myself to be able to navigate anything that happens. in my life, to me, around me. I trust myself fully to be able to navigate it, not just because I do this work daily and deeply, but because I've noticed that I have always navigated everything. I'm still here. I'm still right here. 41 years later, I'm still here. So I trust that I can navigate anything. If I have navigated everything in my life so far, you better fucking believe I can navigate anything else that comes in my way. I might not navigate it beautifully. It might be a big fucking mess. It might be raw as hell, but I will navigate it. I can, and I trust myself to do that every single step. No expectations that it's going to look a certain way, but damn, I will navigate it. I will, because I have. So have you, all of you. Phases, yeah. Any questions? I'm just liking the words. Trust, integrity. Discernment is super yummy. Super yummy. And my discernment has only to do with me. It's never to do with somebody else, right? Like, there's a good one. Like, my youngest child, sometimes he has great friends, but there's a couple times he's picked people and I'm like kids, and I'm like, hi friend. I'm like, no. That's a kind of a no little person for me. But my child's like, no, it's a yes person for me. And I'm like, all right, I am going to trust you in your choices. And I'm going to be right here if my little radar is right or wrong. Right? I mean, right here if it goes off. Like, but I'm never going to, so I trust myself, but I also trust my child and his choices because it's his life. He's the one that's in relationship to this child, these other children, not me. And so that child might be a no for me, but it's a yes for him. And I let him know I trust him. I'm suffering or feeling hindered by shame. Shall I say trust? It's showing me something. What I would actually offer you about shame, Alexandra, is to feel it. Feel the shame. What is on the other side of that shame is hard to describe. It's hard, Linda, it's hard to put into words for me. But the only way with shame is through it. Through the shame. You must walk through it. You must feel through it. Through the shame. And trust that you can feel it. That's where trust would come in there. Trust that you can feel the intense level and degree of shame. You can navigate it. Feeling it will set you free. Like trusting that you can feel the shame and that the shame is not going to kill you. Even if it feels like it. Because it might. I love him. I really like him a lot. I got all his books. He's amazing. I listened to Stephen Jenkinson. At least I think so. I think it's the right person. Talk about we strive for competence. And it occurred to me that I have not trusted myself because I perceive myself as incompetent. Yes. Whereas this idea is totally irrelevant to my ability to live my truth and to shape my reality as I want it. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. He's great. If not a little bit on the cynical side, I like him a lot. But he's great. He's living in his integrity. That's why I love him so much. And so it seems with all feelings, the only way out is through. Yes. Especially with emotions. Emotions have to live. They have to move through you, right? When they don't, you get a trigger, right? Like we did as kids. It's like we froze an emotional development in one place. We keep it like this, right? And so the way to release that is to feel it. And sometimes as children, we couldn't feel the intensity of the emotional package that was happening because it was too much with everything else. And so as an adult, we can go back and feel it now, knowing that we're safe. Like I can look around here with you guys. I'm sitting here. There's a desk. There's a room. There's walls. And if I'm feeling a really intense emotion and there's anxiety or whatever, I can look around and be like, right now, in this moment, I am safe. There's nothing in this room that is going to harm me. It's okay. It's okay if I feel this right now. I'm safe in this moment right now to feel this. I got this. I got this child heart of mine. I got this pain. I can handle it. I have always handled it. And I can be with that, and be with myself in that way. So feeling is liberation, truly, especially when it comes to emotions. Hi, Peter. Yeah, and we're all so much more competent, more resilient, more aware, more intelligent than we have ever been led to believe. Intelligence, I want to talk about that. So important. Such a gorgeous topic. Like my roaring rage. Yes, yeah, it was with me for 2 hours and more incredible. And even then, love was present. Yes! Fran is, yes! If you do this enough, and enough could be 5 times. Like, I'm not saying like it takes 10 years. It really doesn't. But you allow the emotion to live, to roll, to move through you. And you will notice that no matter what is here, even if it's rage, there's love present all the time. There's this, I call it unwavering okayness. That's the sensation, but it is love, right? It's like, there's just this shit fucking sucks, but somehow it's all still okay. Like there's an unwavering okayness within me that I'm safe, that I'm trusted with the feeling. Intelligence. So I had somebody reach out to me and ask me, a coach who's done a lot of things, and she asked a question. I'm trying to say this without revealing too much information. About, she had been to varying different schools of coaching. And she said, why don't I go out in the world and just coach from these things that I've learned? Why am I struggling after, 10 years and I've done this coaching and these genres and all these things? And my answer to her was, because you're more intelligent than that. And she wrote, you're not talking about intellectual intelligence, are you? I said, nope. There's an intelligence within each of us that is indescribable. And that intelligence comes when we allow all the experience. Like when our emotions are running freely, clearly, openly, loving, we're allowing that. A deeper intelligence, a primordial intelligence emerges, a body intelligence, but it's like a body, mind, spirit connected intelligence that is amazing, and it's in all of us. And we've been told lies, I tell you, we've been told lies about it all our lives, most of us, and this hasn't been honored. And it's where we meet the magic. What about when your partner says you don't make good decisions and aren't trustworthy, and that you should not be around somebody they don't trust, and if you do go around them, that you aren't being loyal to them? Damn. That's a in-depth topic. Thank you, by Serenity. But let's unwrap it. So the first one. Yes, that intelligence, right? We're talked out of that intelligence. This intelligence of I just know things. I just know things. The intelligence I have that every single thing, including this wire that I just burnt, this one there's spirit to it, right? It's deeper than just this wire. There's a magic that connects all of that intelligence. That some people roll their eyes at. The knowing without having to know shit. You just know. Without even needing to language it. In fact, sometimes languaging it completely screws it up. That knowing. So, what do you do when your partner says you don't make good decisions and aren't trustworthy? What do? I cry. I feel pretty shitty about myself. That's my initial default reaction for sure. I feel alone. I feel abandoned. I question myself deeply. And once I allow that reaction, and I feel all of that, those really deep feels, and I allow that space, I come out angry. Anger starts to bubble there. And so I allow the anger to come. And then depending on the situation, I may own, yeah, that wasn't such a good decision. It's okay. I'm good. Doesn't make me less trustworthy. Just means that decision didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to. I own the situation. I do not own the untrustworthiness. That belongs to them. Now, if somebody else is telling me that I'm not trustworthy, let's say with money or decisions about a house or whatever, I don't like it. I don't like it. It doesn't feel supportive to me. And I just come back to this right now. It would be trust yourself and what you feel and what you think and what you see and what you know. In that situation, trust yourself. I have a lot I could say about it, but that's the biggest thing that comes up for me without getting too deeply personal. That you should not, I don't even know what that's like to have like my husband tell me I shouldn't hang out with somebody because he doesn't like them and that's being loyal. Like I've had friends that he doesn't particularly like to hang out with, so I would see them. That didn't last very long, to be honest. Those relationships didn't last very long, but we're like, or there's people I don't particularly need to hang out with that he hangs out with all the time. So I don't even understand that kind of controlling stuff. Trust yourself. Trust everything you feel, everything you see, everything you understand there. And it's not like, oh, instant breakup or anything like that, but it's like, wait a second. My loyalty, my love, I have my husband's back. Like, that's not a question, right? And if he's questioning it, that's his questioning. I know. This is where I stand in those things. I know that I'm here to stay. I know that I'm loyal. I know that I'm trustworthy. So, if he's saying those things, that's his problem. Like, I know where I'm at. I know that I'm not going anywhere. I know that my love is in this relationship. I know that my loyalty is in this relationship. And I know that nothing is going to change that. Even hanging out with somebody he doesn't like. Even him hanging out with somebody I don't like that, nothing's going to change the foundation of my commitment and devotion to this relationship. And that helps me just keep being honest, which is like, okay, you can feel that way. I remember one time my husband did say, he's like, you're so unorganized. This is kind of calling the kettle black, by the way. I didn't know it at the time, but like, he's not much more organized than me in different ways. Yes. But and it was like, and my mind was like, oh, he's right about me. I'm not organized. But then it was funny. I caught myself. I'm like, wait a second. What's so good about being organized? Like, why is that such a good trait? Why is it such a big deal if I'm not? And so you can get playful with yourself internally instead of internalizing it as a pain point. Right. And so then, and I remember coming out of this thing inside of me and being like, well, maybe I am unorganized, but I don't need your feedback right now. Like, I don't need your help. I don't want to be organized by you right now. So thanks. And we went on with our lives. So I think that sometimes when people say hurtful things, if we take them hurtfully, which is natural, by the way, and nobody's fault, and that's not what I'm saying, then it perpetuates the dysfunction, right? We play our part of the pattern instead of being like, no, I'm not playing that pattern. I'm trustworthy. I trust myself. This is what's really happening. This is where I'm at. I love you. And my loyalty is not in question here. Yeah. You're welcome. But it's like, just really remaining in yourself, not needing to do like the proving thing or the agreeing thing or whatever, but Like my default when I'm honest, when somebody says something like that to me, is it's a very painful one. It hurts me. And so I have to kind of like swim through the pain, swim through the feelings, like that I let myself, like I fully meet my pain. Like when it comes, I'm like, whoa, right? Because I've learned that when I don't, I'm just going to have to deal with it later. And so I prefer to meet my pain as immediately as it's happening. So I don't like reinitiate a trigger, for example, right? So I'm like, whoa, I'm going to meet it now so that it moves. And then I can come to my discernment. So part of setting boundaries and knowing where I'm at is allowing, I call it the vomit bucket, right? The first is really allowing all the stuff to go through my head. He's a jerk. What the hell? What's he saying? Blah, 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 blah. And I let it all out. And then I feel through the emotions, like fully. No, nothing. And then I come to my discernment, which is, hey, I'm cool. Like, he doesn't have to trust me. I'm good. That's the process, right? And then the boundary would be like, depending on how things are being said, there would be a boundary I would have to set. Like, you second guessing my love and you questioning me is very painful. And where's that coming from? And let's talk about that. Because I don't like it. I'm here. Like I've even, like when my husband has been deeply triggered, he'd be like, I feel like I'm all alone and you're not supporting me. And like, he's really deeply in that trigger. And I'm standing right there, like right in front of him. And I'm like, I'm right here. And he, yeah, but I'm all alone and you don't understand this part of it and you don't try to help me. I said, well, I do actually. And I'm right here. I'm right here. And staying in that space, like, no, I do not abandon you. No, you are not doing this alone. I am with you every step of the way, right? And if there were places where I was abandoning him, I would own them. In this particular case, I was like, I'm right here, honey. Like, I understand you're scared. This thing that just happened sucks. But you're not alone. I'm right here. I'm right here. And that's my job with anybody that I love that's in a trigger, is I'm right here. Unless I'm triggered too, which is rarer and rarer and rarer these days. But it does happen. When two people's triggered, it's holy crap, that's a mess. That's a big mess. But you can always come back from it. It's not the end of the world. And not taking responsibility for anyone else's behavior but your own. Big, 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 big. Huge. Huge. When I try to take responsibility for other people's responsibility for other people's behavior, I get really, really, really lost. I don't know where I am anymore. And then when somebody questions me and my character and who I am, I'm like, oh my God, right? Because I'm so busy taking responsibility for other people's shit, I don't know where my shit is. I prefer to know where my shit is so I can own it and nobody can talk me out of it. Nobody can tell me that what I'm experiencing is wrong. Nobody can tell me that what I speak about is false because I'm speaking about my lived experience. And I own my lived experience. And I am the first person on the planet to look at my part in things, right? So like if shit hits the fan relationally in my business or whatever, the first person I'm going to turn to and be like, what the fuck is going on, is to myself. I'm going to be like, okay, Shanti, where's your responsibility? Right? The difference now to me, say a couple years ago, is that, it's okay, is that I used to go, okay, this is all my fault. And I would take the entire whatever just fell apart on my shoulders. I mean, it's all my fault that somebody else, scammed me, for example. And now it's like, nope, where's mine? Where's my responsibility? And I only take responsibility for my own stuff because my default is to take responsibility for everybody. That's not healthy. That's not healthy. Yeah, yes, but what is my role? Not what is everybody else's role. I don't care what their shit is. And I can't wait around for the other person to take accountability for their shit. That will keep me stuck too. So I just very quickly take risk. So if somebody comes at me and says, you did this, I'm like, wait a second. Give me a second. Let me find out if that's true. Because I'm not just going to take your word for it that I've done something until I can find it within myself. Where used to, somebody would say, you did this. I'm like, oh my God, I did. And it was like, I didn't. It was clear to me in my head that I didn't, but I was triggered so intensely that I was like, of course they're right about me. Like, not asking myself. That's the consequences of taking responsibility for other people's behavior. And the way out of that is just to really stay in your own lane. As if I was God and it was all me. Now I look for my role in it. Yeah, just mine. Just mine. And I will own my shit like nobody else. And that's the truth. I know that about myself. And so nobody else can get like the crack in about like, you're not being responsible. Yeah, no idea how responsible I am. Like, like that, no. I carried so much responsibility all my life until I learned what real responsibility was. I carried like the heavy fucking shit of the world on my shoulders for most of my life until I learned what real responsibility is. And true, honest, clear responsibility is liberation. It's freedom. It's homecoming. It's trust. It's integrity. It's boundaries. It's clarity. It's amazing. It's not something heavy. It's not a punishment. It's not drudgery, right? It's freedom. It's absolute freedom to just be like, this is mine. And whatever somebody else's is theirs. I can't take responsibility for that. Not my kid's behavior, not my husband's behavior, not some stranger's behavior, not somebody I'm paying's behavior. I can't. I can only take responsibility for my own stuff. And in doing that, I trust myself even more. Yeah. And also it's like, I say this often and I just want to reiterate it again, is like, with the only time that we have choice is when we're aware. Without awareness, there is no choice. When we become aware of something, now we have choices. I think I already know the answer, maybe. But what do you do with the longing to be validated, recognized, seen by someone else who isn't giving those things? I would need a little bit more. So let me give you a little bit, if you want to share a little bit. So I really, let me see if this is true for me right now. I'm not seeking so much anymore validation from other people, but I fucking love it. We need each other. We need to validate each other. So that the longing to be validated is natural. I mean, look at every child. Mom, look! Mom, look! Mom, look! Like, this is very natural. And we don't lose that because we're adults. We've just kind of tried to, like, shut it off. Like, I don't need anybody else's validation. Plus, there's all this spiritual fucking bullshit out there that tells you not to, that we don't need each other. And you need to be only internally validated, which is a crock of shit. Sorry. I felt very petty. I'm not sorry, but sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. The longing to be valid. So is this person capable of validating and recognizing you? So for example, when I like clean the house and everybody comes home, like there's 5 people that come home after I clean the house. I'm like, I cleaned the house. And they know that means they have to go, good job. And they have to look around and they have to be happy and surprised. And oh, it's amazing. And it feels so good. So I go and get the validation that I want. Like I ask openly for validation. I write to my friends and say, hey, can you just love me right now? Can you tell me how awesome I am? Because I forgot for a second. We've forgotten that that's like a valid option. Like to actually ask for validation. To actually say, hey, I could use some validation from you right now. I'm feeling kind of insecure. Yeah, it's not one person in particular, but comes up for me. Right? So first, recognize and honor that it's supernatural to want validation from other people. Of course you do. It's so wonderful to be validated and reminded and loved and cared for and adored by others. It's amazing. And we need it from each other. So find people that will validate you. That's another thing that I would do, that will naturally validate you just because they love you. Recognized and seen by someone else. So, and yeah, you know this part too, is like begin to validate, recognize, and love yourself, right? But sometimes it's not so, that sounds like it's easy. Sounds like, oh yeah, just do that. Just do that. Come on, just do it. Not so easy, right? Especially if we missed out on it when we were little. You know, that age where mom, look, and then there was nothing. There was neglect or shutting it down or something. That need, that want is My narrative. I do ask, but still feel unseen and unheard. Yeah, because you don't let it in. Right? Because you're not letting it in. It's like, when somebody validates you, Stacy, when somebody says something beautiful about you, when somebody sees you, you can believe them. It's okay. It's true what they're saying about you. And that can be both really beautiful, but also very painful. Right? It's a lot. Grief will swell there. But when somebody tells you how amazing you are, when somebody validates you, when somebody sees you, you can believe that they're right, that what they're telling you is true. And they're not just telling you to placate you. They're not just, rolling their eyes and giving you what you need, but just believe them. There's certain people I ended up being drawn to because they actually validated your belief narrative, right? So you were drawn to people that would not validate you because they would validate your belief narrative. So they were actually validating you, like perfectly, like really well. And so when somebody does validate you with kindness and sweetness and truth and real, this can't be true, right? So how do you change the narrative? You believe them. You believe it when somebody tells you something beautiful about yourself. Not judge yourself for wanting what you want. Yes, it changes the whole game. It does. It's like, I long for that thing because I long for that thing. And it's funny that, where was Effie? She talked about that dude, Jenkinson. Oh my God, he's amazing. But anyway, like he basically has like no business plan at all. And he fills his shit like crazy. And I want that. That's what I want that. I want that. I want it to be that easy. I mean, it seems easy from here, but I know what goes into the X part, right? And he's written lots of books, and of course. But I'm just like, that's what I want. I want that. I'm like, do I feel bad about that? No. I don't feel bad about that. That's what I want. It's okay. All right, don't let it in. Yeah. So it's that, and it's so painful to let it in at first. I'm not going to lie to you. It can feel so intense to let in the validation, the true validation, not the bullshit validation, but the true validation. It can be really like, oh, holy shit. And so that's your edge. Your edge is to let it in. Even let's say somebody would flippantly say, oh, but you're so pretty, or, like they're not present to the validation. Take it in. Like it's fucking the water of the gods or something. Like it's like, take the nourishment in, like suck it in, be greedy, like super greedy, suck it in for reals. Like just do it. Be gentle with yourself. I feel so ignored and validated, like I'm a ghost, invisible. It's gotten so intense that I need to believe in myself first and get to know myself, trust myself, so others will trust me and be able to validate me also. Like I saw a guy in central London, desperate like me. Please, 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 can someone just say hello to me? Can someone acknowledge me? It was like the people could literally not see him because he was creating that, because he believed in that he was invincible, I think. Yes, there is something to that, Alexandra. Yes, and... Yes, and what the fuck is wrong with us people who can't just say, I see you, I hear you, right? We're just too busy to acknowledge the bum on the street and be like, hi, I see you. I don't have a whole lot of time to sit here with you, but I see you right now. You matter. There's two sides to that, right? And the neediness is what scares people. Neediness scares people. I don't even understand. Like, it scares people because they think, oh my God, they're going to suck all my energy, or I have to give them everything. I have to give them my whole wallet. But instead of like, neediness isn't scary. It's not scary. Why is it scary? It makes no sense. It's not scary. Neediness is just neediness. That's all it is. It's just an experience. So they need some more. So what? Give them what you can. You don't have to give them everything. Give them a little bit. Give them what you can, what you're able to give. It feels vulnerable opening myself up to being tricked. Yes, I get that one very well, because when I've had so many experiences of being bullied, but we moved a lot, and I came to a new school, and the first day there was this boy who asked me to be his girlfriend. I was 11 or something, be his girlfriend, and I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, cool. And then he's like, just kidding. And everybody laughed. And it was like, for me, it was like, that was like, like, my kids would be like, whatever, fuck you. Because, like, they have this sense of themselves. I was like, my life is over. Like, this is my first day of school, and that was stupid, and everybody hates me, and I was the joke of the class, and blah, 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 right? So, there's that. But, it's okay. I'm going to go in just a second too, Lily, and thanks for being here. It is beautiful being here. I agree. So as I know you, Stacey, you're not cultivating relationships with people who are trying to trick you anymore. That's not where you are in your life anymore, right? At all. This is the people that you're surrounding yourself with today are not people that are going to take advantage of you. They're not people that are going to try to trick you. They're not people that want to hurt you. That's my take on that. So the trigger is there. The trigger of like, oh my God, somebody's going to trick me is there. But it's not your lived reality right now. Right? And that's just something to like take a look at. See if you can get some air, like a breath there. Give some space to that, to knowing that like, oh yeah, I'm not at the schoolyard anymore. Right? And that being who you are today, you are way less likely to put up with that shit. And you could set boundaries now. And you can say fuck no to having people in your life. You're not forced by law to continue going to school and seeing that person every day. So there's a certain level of freedom that you have that your little girl didn't, that she can enjoy through you now. I recently had an epiphany with neediness is where I realized I was shaming myself for feeling needy, and this was hurting more than the neediness itself. Yes, Miriam makes a really good point. Oh, Angela, I'm so glad you're here. There's tons of them, and I would love to see you back. Big, big hugs. And my day and week are amazing. Intense, but amazing. Yeah, so anything that we're fighting, like, neediness it's like not allowing something to be exactly as it is what is far more painful than just being needy, weak. Other ones that people avoid: weak, pathetic, overwhelmed. These kinds of things. Oh no, I can't feel that. I can't feel that way. And we're terrified of them because we've been conditioned to be terrified of, like, don't be needy. Needy's creepy. Don't grab at things. Pretend like everything's okay, even though you're having like an internal panic attack all the time. But pretend like you're not having an internal panic attack all the time. That works well. Real well. It's where addictions come from. Trying to not feel what we feel. The truth is we always feel what we feel. Always. We can't unfeel things. Like, we try, but we can't. And the truth is, when we take substances or we do things to distract ourselves, like watch a movie or eat ice cream or, I don't know, shop or play whatever, we're really just giving ourselves permission to feel deeper. And when we drink alcohol or take drugs, it's not about trying to, we've been told that we're trying to numb our experience. But what we're really doing is giving ourselves permission to feel fully. I've been accused of being so needy sometimes. I'm like, something clicks in my head and I think, yeah, I'm fucking needy. I need a what? I don't know. I need to XYZ and the whole tons of things I need to do that I haven't been able to before. Exactly. Damn right I'm needy. And there's a reason I'm needy. And there's a reason I'm feeling angry. And there's a reason I feel the way I do. Like, there's a reason that I can teach this stuff the way that I do. That reason is because of what I have experienced. And what I have experienced was real. Not some figment of my imagination. My emotions will not let me make a story out of this. Like, it's just a story. It didn't really happen. Everything's fine. No. There's a reason I am exactly the way that I am. And part of that is because of how I grew up and my experiences in life. They accumulate to be and create what I am today. And ignoring that isn't beneficial for anybody. Like, it doesn't mean I wallow in it and I'm dying and I'm stuck there and that is who I am and that's my identity. But it's not beneficial to not admit where I come from. To not accept that as a piece of what I am. And in being honest about my experiences, being honest about what happened, and being very transparent about all of it, I heal. I don't have anything to hide. I don't have anything to prove to anybody. I'm just here in the open, like literally my clean, pretty, perky, beautiful underwear and my nasty, ugly, dirty underwear flapping in the wind. And that all of it is there and it's a part of me. And it is like this thing about, there's a lot of feelings we all have to feel that we haven't been able to before. And I want to create more space for all of those feelings, for the feelings to be there, for the feelings to be okay, for the needy people in the world to be seen, honored, cared about. That story happened and made me the person I am today. Yes. Yes. But that story is not me. It's not what or who I am. But it definitely informs who's sitting in front of you right now. Definitely. Definitely. You can't separate it. Right? This is where emotions come in and spirituality goes right out the fucking door. Because emotions don't lie. They don't know how. They're not made to lie. They're just this thing moving through you. And when it gets stuck, like you're triggered, that's in your body. And it's a visceral memory. And you can't fake that shit. You can't make that shit go away. You have to feel it. You have to feel it. You can't mental masturbate your way out of feeling what you are. And too often, it's a rare person who grows up emotionally intact. But like I said, I have met them. And it is always an honor. And it is always a learning for me when I meet somebody like that. I'm just like, I need to sit next to you and rub on you and lick you. Because it's so beautiful. And it is the, if you will, it's the future that I see that I want to be a part of developing, is that more people grow up emotionally intact, fully themselves, totally expressed, free to feel like shit this minute, free to feel great the next minute, free to feel angry and pissed and really fucking hate somebody right now, and 5 minutes later walk down the street and be like, everything's great, and not be seen as like, you have mental illness. No. Emotions are so pure. They move through us so clean. They're not this dirty, ugly thing that we need to get rid of. They're so clean. They're the cleaning system of our existence. Like grief, when we cry, physiologically, it cleans your lungs. Like, this is no joke. The emotions are one of the deepest pieces of our health in general and our well-being as a whole. To next generation. Well, I wouldn't say they have no blocks or pieces, but a lot less. To expect that they have none is, it's too far of a leap for me right now, but that they have far less shit that they have to walk out and far more deep connection to themselves. That they're, my kids anyway, they know I'm allowed to feel the way I feel. You can't talk me out of this. Environment will make a difference in the next generation? Environment. This is interesting. My mind goes to planet, right? So, but I think you're talking more about like a family environment. Environment has a huge effect on, and the environment in the home has the biggest effect. And I think that, wow, I just realized I had some fear to say that. That was weird. Whatever that's about. The environment in the home has the most effect on how a child grows up. I mean, I think this is common sense, but it almost feels like taboo to say it. And, I want to go back again to that resiliency, that there are many humans on the planet who have been through some of the shittiest things beyond imagination. I've actually spoken to and been with and lived with and hung out with and had clients that have had some of the worst stories you can imagine of childhood. And I always come back to how fucking resilient we are and how capable we are to heal. I always say healing doesn't mean curing, right? It doesn't mean it goes away and everything's perfect. But healing to me means living the best, highest quality of life that we possibly can in every moment. And so no matter what, how a child grows up, it's super important. I would love for more of them to grow up intact. There is always the opportunity for them to heal. The resiliency is amazing. So that is the full circle of that, in that even having, horrible things, you guys, that like horrible. You want to talk about the horrors of the world? Like, I have been with some of the most emotional, horrific things you can imagine, and the resiliency that these people are walking. Alexander's an example right now. Walking, breathing, living, functioning, able to laugh, able to cry. Human beings is a testament to that magic, intelligent thing I talked about earlier. The deep, primordial, internal intelligence that is running every human being is far more powerful, far stronger than we've ever been led to believe. And it's clear and it's grounded and it's rooted and it's not airy-fairy and it's not out there. It's not woo. It's deep understanding, deep knowing. A deep commitment. And a devotion to wanting beyond anything to thrive. That's living connected, trusting, integrity. That's what you touch. That's what you live from. Healing is a proactive. Healing's happening no matter what. It's much easier, but more intense when it's proactive, for sure. But healing is like, it's a mechanism that is happening that we cannot stop. We can't stop it. We cannot stop the healing, because it's what is that internal knowing being thingness that we are is what's running the show of healing. And that healing is happening in every single moment instantaneously. It's natural. It's natural for us to constantly be healing what's hurting, healing what's not in balance. It's a very natural space to be. Very, very natural. You need experience in someone that can lead you. Lead? I'm not sure. Be an example? Yes. When I'm working with people privately or in courses, even when I'm working with somebody, it's very clear to me and clear to them that we're in this together, that it's a co-creation, that I'm not better than they are. They don't know more than they do. I have a certain skill set, a certain experience set, that I bring to the table, as do they. And we're walking through it together. Yeah, I like to be really clear in those places, in that spaces. Thanks, Alex. Okay, you guys, I think I could smell dinner downstairs, so I'm gonna go. And nothing wrong with being a lead or being led or being a leader or any of it. No, not at all. It's just, for me, there's a clear exchange happening that is really important for me to honor when it comes to leading. And I truly, because of the work that I do, my work is really about the people that I work with trusting themselves more and more so that they are the leaders. It's like I hold, I'm like a marker in their journey. I'm a small part of their journey that says, remember who you are. Trust yourself. And that means they must be, in the process of our working together, they become the leader in their own lives. Is it possible to shift perception so much through alignment that the pieces jump back into you? I would say that's what's happening for me. But Carolyn, you've seen what I talked to, so you know what picking up the pieces looks like. That's what's happening. Those pieces don't jump back in. I mean, they come back into me and it takes 35 minutes. They jump back into me. You mean without processing it? You mean without feeling it? I will say this. When you get to the root piece, or the more rooted pieces, like the place where it started, and you pick up that piece, by picking up that piece, you pull like a sweater, a knitted sweater, and you go, and you pull this thing, and then all these rolls go, they unravel. That's what happens. So I guess the answer is yes. But there's none of this happening not doing the active work, right? There's each piece you pick up, you're picking up more than one piece, for sure. Each piece that you pick up, each layer that you pick up, you're picking up like an entire, rows and rows and rows of a sweater. So the answer is yes. But you still have to feel it. You have to go through. You can't get out of not doing the work. I mean, without feeling of it, just a new reality. Is it possible? The answer is yes. And because anything's possible. I truly do believe that. And it's like, in order to be free of the stories and the beliefs, you have to pick it up. You can't just ignore it. It can't just all be fine one day. You've got to pick up those pieces. And some of my pieces are like 30 minutes, and some of my pieces are literally 30 seconds. 30 seconds, boom, done. Okay, right? Or, hi, Lavender. So I did give you an example. I was in a huge argument with my sister-in-law. Big, long story short. Something happens. I'm super pissed. I'm super upset. I'm super sad. I'm super freaked out. And I stand up. We're in the mountains. It's freezing cold. I walk outside. I'm in a t-shirt and I'm walking and I'm like, I feel like shit. And I sit down and I'm like, I'm having like a total panic attack. And I'm like, and there's this voice and it's like, it's okay. And I'm like, why don't I believe you? Like, I didn't believe the voice. I was so upset. And I was like, it's okay. You don't have to believe me. It's okay. And so then I got up and I started to walk. And as I started to walk, the voice was like, just let go. I let go, and I had like a smorgasbord of feelings. Like, it was like, I can't even explain it. And I felt like I got hit by a truck and run over by a train, and it was going really, 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 really fast. And I just was like, I literally just went poof, and I opened up and I felt it. Like, the intensity of it was insane. I have no way to explain it to you. And literally from walking, I don't know, I maybe walked 10 meters, and all of a sudden I went, and it was all gone. Done. And I was like, whoa. And I was left in this really weird space of like silent nothingness. I was like, I don't even know what piece that was. It was so fucking intense. And it was 30 seconds. And so later on, I got to like pick up the pieces of the story. But just so you know, like it doesn't have to take 30 minutes. It can take 30 seconds. It's just how quickly am I willing to let go to the feeling and the trigger that is here? How quickly am I willing to trust that there's the other side of it, right? Like the deeper, the one that I put in the group that was 30 minutes, that this is a deep core wound. So of course it's going to take more time, right? And there's other layers. I've already worked on this same core wound that were less, right? That were like faster. But like the deeper you get to it, it's like, oh, and it's like, it's so painful for me, this one, that it's like peeling back the layers are just more intense, and I'm more afraid to open myself fully to them. That's honest. I'm just being honest. So no, it doesn't have to look like that. It can be a lot simpler, and it can happen a lot quicker. That one was just like, I've never recorded them either. This one I just knew was really important for me to have on record for myself, and then I shared it. So no. There are no rules. And the map is, you are the map. You are the instruction manual. It's you. So my map only gives a reference point. It doesn't say your map. Your map is your map. And only you can navigate that one. So, but that was great. I think that was a really good distinction too. It was like, with every piece you pick up eons and eons of dysfunctional patterning. That's a promise. This is like profound work. In my not so humble opinion. Okay, you guys. Thank you. Thank you for sticking with me so long. I appreciate you, and I'll see you around.